I know Trevor did not want to die. He had so much life and love to give. There is no way he wanted to die. His friends, so many people came up and said, Trevor saved me.
He was 2.5 years older than me. So growing up, it was fun. We would play at the park together. Well, he would play with his friends, I'd play with my friends, but we'd go to the park together. He would always tell his friends, like, not to talk to me because I was a sister, but we had the sibling relationship, like older brother, younger annoying sister. He was always protective of me.
He was a free spirit through and through. He made a sand lot one time in the back of his friend's backyard, so they had the whole neighborhood playing pickup baseball games, and he had the most eclectic outfits that he'd show up anywhere in. Had so many friends at his funeral, they called it his country. Trizzy's country. Trizzy is his nickname. He decided in, I don't even know if it was junior high, high school, beginning of freshman year, that he wanted to be a rapper. That didn't succeed. He loved music. He found his outlet through music, and he decided, I'm going to call myself Trizzy. So that name stuck, and we named the nonprofit that we started for fentanyl education Turn Up for Trizzy, because anywhere he went, he would walk into a room, hey, turn up, you know. So he just loved his friends, loved his family, and I'm not even sure he loved himself as much as he did his friends and family.
He drove me crazy, so I would always be mad at him, but he just gives his little goofy smile, and like he did like a shimmy and everything would be okay. Yeah, I was always proud of him. He was my big brother. He was like Superman to me. He never knew a stranger, and I think that's the most beautiful thing. Like, I wish I could be like him in that way. But I think he focused too much on making everybody else happy that he didn't realize that he wasn't happy himself. And he needed someone to be him for himself. Kid had no money, but he was constantly paying for everybody to do things, and then no one gave him that kindness back.
I think he felt like a failure. And in his head, he was always lifting others up. He always took up with the underdog. He would bring homeless people to the place where he worked or frequented in Cleveland and fed him a meal when he didn't have a dime to his name. But he would find something that made him feel good about himself. He loved helping others, but he just didn't want to help himself. And I don't know about the drugs. I think it wasn't an issue. It was more recreational.
He didn't change personalities or anything. It seemed like he was always chasing the party. He would ask me for more and more money to kind of go out and do things. Like, oh, I need $50 to go to pay my tab or to get dinner.
He did drink. He went to Put-in-Bay, which is a little island in Lake Erie, and he met some of his very best friends. He drank a little more heavily there. And alcoholism runs in the family. I always asked if he needed help with alcoholism.
Yeah, I always wanted him to do better. I think that's probably why I spent so much, like, giving him money and stuff, because I was like, that sounds bad, because I'd give him money and it kind of enabled it, but at the same time, I just wanted him to, I always wanted the best for him. And it,
Around 10:30 in the morning on Sunday, he texted a dealer, ordered up some cocaine. And the dealer asked him if he wanted hard or soft. And Trevor replied, "What is that?"
So he was out with all his friends, and they were drinking, having a good night out in downtown Cleveland, and they went back to his apartment, and they wanted the party to keep going, so they all did cocaine. And the cocaine that he took was laced with fentanyl.
And right away, he knew something was wrong. And he texted the dealer, "What is this crap?" And he went down. So they called their friend that lived a building over, freaking out because they were young, 21. And he said, "If you don't call 911 right away." So they did end up calling 911. And he was given 12 milligrams of naloxone, Narcan. And they took him to the hospital by EMS. So a detective got there and kind of was like, what do you think your parents are going to say? You know, do you want this? Do you want your parents to come and find you?
The hospital sent him home within 2-3 hours with no Narcan or anything, because Narcan wears off, and we didn't know that at the time, but we found that out recently, that it wears off, so you could potentially overdose again. So they sent him home from the hospital.
He called a friend. He picked him up, and per the friend, he was very sick, shaking, short of breath, throwing up. So he took him home, and at some point, Trevor had to get his keys, so I heard he was taken by a wheelchair to where he had his keys, and around 6:30, his roommate came home, and I guess word has spread what happened, and the roommate said that he was short of breath a little bit and just tired, was just gonna sleep. At some point during the night, he sent a text to his very best friend, and all it got out was, "Al, I'm DY." We assume it meant dying. So when the roommate woke up the next morning, he was laying on the floor, blue, and he tried CPR, and he was gone. So when we just walked in the house on Monday morning, and the medical examiner called and said he had deceased.
It was the morning of July 25th, and my mom called me, and she's like, I could just tell in her voice something happened. She was like, She said, "Morgan, are you sitting down?" And at first I thought, like, my grandpa died or something. So I sat on the bed, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm sitting down." And she goes, Trevor overdosed last night." And I was all alone in Findlay because I was with my boyfriend, but he went to work. And so I was sitting on the bed, and she said that, and I was like, "No, you're joking." And she's like, "No." And I don't really remember much after that, but I remember that call. I sat there for probably 30 minutes to an hour, just like trying to process it.
It was all new to me. I know he didn't like weed. He did smoke cigarettes or e-cigarettes or vapes or whatever. Drank alcohol, of course. I don't know if that just made him feel like he was on top of things, you know, he just didn't sleep. His brain never shut down. He was always thinking. But when he was thinking, he always would reach out to friends. "How you doing?" Start up a conversation. "Hey, listen to this song." I think he went through some tumultuous relationship. They were like oil and water. They did not jive. And I don't know if that was a little weighing on him too. But as soon as I heard fentanyl, I just delved into research, learning all I could about it, asking his friends, was he, like, did he need rehab? Did he use all the time? We had just come from a vacation in December, and I know he didn't do it there with us, you know, so I don't think he needed an edge all the time. I don't know. There is an investigation. It's 2 years. It took a little bit to find me via social media due to the fact that we don't have the same last name since I'm remarried, but they contacted my daughters, and the ball's been rolling a little bit for 2 years, obviously. He's been gone that long. We'll have a day in court, and I can't wait to talk to this guy.
Every day's kind of a struggle. I mean, it feels like there's a piece missing out of my life. I'm okay, like, I'm okay for what has happened, but you always think of, like, oh, well, every time I hit a milestone in my life, I want to be able to talk to him about it. That's, like, the worst part, knowing he won't be here for any of those things. Like my wedding or my having my own kids, like, he won't be there. That's what gets me, just the struggling to adjust with him not being here and never being here again.
I know Trevor did not want to die. He had so much life and love to give. He was looking forward to his MGK concert in 2 weeks. He loved it. He wanted to, he loved that vibe, being downtown. He loved the music. He loved the Browns. That was really a good fit for him. And there is no way he wanted to die. his friends, so many people came up and said, Trevor saved me. He could talk someone off a ledge. And I just wish this wasn't our life. And no one understands what you're going through besides people that are going through it. And I've really connected with some great people, not by choice, but by circumstance. We started a nonprofit because we want to give back because Trevor was such a giver. So we raise money by hosting a golf outing every year. And we have given out 5 scholarships. We've done help with Christmas for kids that need it. Trevor was such a giver that a kid was in need of shoes, and all he wanted for Christmas was a pair of nice high tops for his basketball season from Goodwill. So I was like, we have to help. So we went to Dick's and got him some shoes and a shoe rack, and hopefully that made his Christmas. And anything that we see a need of that Trevor would have loved to give to, that's kind of our focus. And just telling his story, and you don't have to resort to this. And anything you're gonna come across right now, even by experiment, you know it's gonna be laced. 300 people are dying each day. Why? The question always is why? Why is this happening? And why did it have to happen to us?